Just to let you know, this podcast may contain some offensive/explicit language. If you don't like that type of stuff, then you simply don't have to listen. But we've given you your warning. Hope you enjoy. Hello, Dan. Welcome back to episode 2 of the podcast.
Don't say hello, mate. Go. Welcome to the Off the Hook Nash Tackle Podcast, episode 2. It's great to be back. We've had some really good something like that. Don't just go, hello, Dan.
Welcome back to episode 2 of the Nash Tackle Podcast, where I'm joined, as always, by my colleague, my friend, my boss, Dan Yeomans.
You lover.
You love her.
That was better, see?
Yeah.
That one worked.
It's Friday.
Yeah. So, do you want me to read some comments to see how we got on?
No, I don't, if I'm perfectly honest.
We 100% need Tom's viral back after it was stolen from him. As for guests, got to get Nashy himself back on.
Okay, you can't argue with that one.
No, it can't. I'm going to come back to that one. Cheap drones and cheap boats, pathetic.
Yeah, because we were obviously talking about drones in episode 1.
But more about us using them for filming, not so much.
cheap. Wait, say that again. What was
cheap drones, cheap boats, pathetic.
I mean, he's to the point.
Yeah, he doesn't beat around the bush. I like this one. Don't like these two.
Yeah, again, it's.
I want to know how much he listened to before he went, not for me, not for me. Or if he'll listen to this one. But a follow-up comment on that one was, the one in the green cap is a cock. I rang because I got a bivvy and it all came stuffed and pulled on the fabric, and I sent photos. And he asked, is it the bag for the bivvy, even though you could see the poles. He wants the poles he wants as such a dick, the way he talks to people. Never buy Nash again.
Very coherent.
Didn't really get it, but the 2 bits I got was, the one in the green cap is a cock. Subject A.
Granted.
And such a dick, the way he talks to people. He's definitely got me mixed up with someone else. I understand he may have had a bad situation with a bivvy here, but I don't answer the phones. I don't work in customer service. I do the cameras, the photos, the marketing. I don't answer the phone. I don't speak to people. So he's clearly spoke to someone. He's gone, I reckon it was him. I'll choose him. So if you're listening, mate, it wasn't me. No matter, because I did actually try and explain myself and go, look, mate, it wasn't me. Really sorry, blah, blah, blah. He said, yeah, you contacted me through YouTube. I rang and got condescending bull. So he definitely thinks it's me. It's not me.
Just your voice then. He's identifying you through voice.
Maybe.
But then you contacted him through YouTube.
I don't know what's going on.
How do you do that?
I don't know, but he don't like me. But I'm assuming if he doesn't like us and he doesn't like me, he won't be listening to this episode anyway, because if you don't like something, you don't watch it, right?
Yeah. So let us know. If you've come back, we've left a lasting impression.
Was asleep on 4 minutes, bored to death.
Wow. Well, I'll take 4 minutes.
How did you write the comment then?
Was asleep on 4 minutes.
If he'd gone to,
so is
he's woken up probably and gone, oh, best write a comment to tell them I was asleep on 4 minutes. So a lot of positivity. I'm only picking out the worst ones, obviously. Lots of positivity, which is great. So thank you very much for the feedback. My favourite one, can we have a podcast where both lads take an ancestry DNA test so we can finally put to bed the question which is on everybody's lips? What in the evolutionary mutation has contributed to the size of Dan's nose?
I had no idea where that was going, but that's, I mean, it is.
It's written so well. What in the evolutionary mutation has contributed to the size of Dan's nose?
It always remain a question of life. Yeah. How did your nose get so big?
But I read that, creased at it, very funny, and then I looked at the username, and it's actually someone I know, Louis Horner, who used to work here, used to be Nash's PA. Don't see him enough, but I appreciate the comment all the same, Lou. Very good, very good. So yeah, that was a quick catch up on.
Okay, yeah, we'll take that. I mean, there's not enough there for me to go, they hate us. I mean, there's some
even if they did, we'll carry on.
Yeah, why not?
Blindly windmilling into the future.
I think the last episode was very much just doing it because we kept beating around the bush. Sam will get it done, and we just sat down, not with a plan, and it might have looked a bit amateurish, but it worked before. It can work again. But this one, I've come in, I say prepared. I found a couple of bits I want to talk to you about.
Cool.
Can I talk to you about them now?
Now, should we save it? Should we do some pleasantries first?
Go on then.
You all right?
Yeah.
Good.
No, I'm very well. It's nearly 20 degrees-ish.
Yeah, it's proper feeling like it now. Have you been out fishing?
I have. I booked 3 days holiday. It was that first warm spell. So, no, tell a lie. On the first night, we were down to -2, -3. So it was really weird. Felt lovely in the day. I was getting there. Lake wasn't busy. Big walk around the lake, and you were thinking, with the sun being out, it's still a bit nippy this day because there was easterly winds, and I was like, I've got, because I've booked holiday, I don't feel guilty, because if I go, I'm fortunate enough sometimes that I can get down the lake, fire up my laptop, and then in and out of meetings. But this time I was like, phone in the van, laptop in the van. Well, didn't even have my laptop, but it was a case of let's find these buggers. Like, I'm not setting up and opening my laptop. Could I find them? Could I fuck? So the one time that you think that you're going to find them. Anyway, long story short, I went fishing for 3 days. The weather was amazing. It felt like I just felt good. Like, regardless of whether I was catching, I felt high on life, Dan. It was like that first, all the day. It was just, well, the morning I left, I was t-shirt off.
T-shirt off.
T-shirt off.
It's March, mate.
No, I'm deadly sick. T-shirt off because it was so warm.
God,
and I only had
lucky
tracksuit bottoms with me because I didn't have shorts, but I would have been there. I would have been in my pants if there wasn't someone opposite me.
What a sight.
Huh?
What a sight.
What a sight, yeah. So, yeah, I didn't catch anything because it's just weird carp. You really would have thought they'd been moving. And honestly, I was enjoying myself regardless because that was a bit of me time, but I could not find them. The lake's 3.5, 4 foot. The water clarity is not great at the moment, but we had 2 days of 16, 17, 18, 19 degrees. I couldn't see them at all. And I looked and I looked and I looked. I couldn't see them.
It's them bog eyes of yours.
Yeah.
No, I know what you mean. I always say there's the carp fishing rule book in there. You know, where they should be, in what conditions, at what time of year. And, you know, I always say, pay half attention to it, but also they are carp. They're a wild animal. All bets are always off as well.
Yeah.
I always say that, rip the rule book up, and just because they quite often will appear where you least expect them to. You know, a nice warm, especially it's one of the first ones, southwesterly wind in spring, you'd expect them to be on the end of it. And the carp fishing rule book says go fish on the end of it, but unless I see them there, I don't think I've ever been great at like the hunch. You know, I know some people are so good at just knowing where to be at what time, but I always need to see one to prove it. And there's so many times where, especially when I'm filming, you think they'll be in one area and, you know, the drone might go up and they're not there. You know, they're at the other end of the lake. And yeah, I think it happens so much, but I think it's not. I think for a lot of people, don't just like go into autopilot mode. Have a good look. You've done. Have a good look, because one thing that won't lie is, you know, actually seeing them.
And this, again, as I mentioned, I come away from that session. I didn't catch anything, but I felt really good. I didn't feel like there was anything else I could have done because I didn't see them. So like you say, you're always looking for them. But when you can't see them, what do you then turn to? You go by the textbook. End of a warm wind. Obviously outside of like not just seeing the carp, but fizzing, etc. Anything. I couldn't see any of that. But end of a warm wind, temperature, like in the lake. And I was taking temperature readings of the lake.
Oh, yeah.
And one end of the lake, which is shallower, was 2 degrees warmer. And you think just coming out of a slumber than the other end. So you think, I know that doesn't sound a lot, but when it was, I think it was 12 degrees instead of 9, 10. So it's 20% increase. So it's actually quite a lot. You're thinking, but like it's everything by the book, they should be there because they're warm. And the one that did get caught, or that I saw get caught, the lake's pretty shallow, and then there's one swim which goes down to about 10 foot, and it's like one swim literally, and then the rest of the lake is probably average 4 foot. With the sun coming out, you would have said they'd be in the shallower part, like come out of the like 10 foot of water.
Yeah.
And
at night.
No, well, again, I saw someone land one. Do you know what I mean? Like as I was leaving, so I think that was no, it was in the day, in the morning. But everything should have said that's colder You know, I know that end of the lake's colder. It's deeper, so it's not warming up as quick because we're coming out of the winter. And they were there, you know, and I didn't see anything, so I never would have had the confidence to say they're here or there. But that goes against everything.
Yeah.
And I take a leaf out of what you said there. The ultimate sign for catching carp or confidence is seeing them. It's not always possible, especially in the winter, but sometimes you've got to...
yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
How
would you have...
After
how
that,
do you deal with that?
You're just drawing on experience, aren't you? You're just drawing on what's worked for you in the past, where they should be through what you've learned in fishing through experience or other people have told you, etc., etc. That's what you're drawing on if you can't find them, essentially, especially this time of the year. Getting into post-spawning, you don't find them, you might have a few areas baited you can rely on because they're getting around the pond a lot quicker, a lot easier. You know, they're a lot more mobile. They may, the chance of them coming across your bait, especially if they've been visiting, that can play into your favour. But this time of year, they will be where they will want to be.
Yeah.
And if you don't see them, it's, you're drawing on that experience. And like I say, I don't think I'm very good at it. I really don't. Most of my real successes in fishing, especially when I'm like on my Syndicate or it's hard or it's not just sort of like maybe a higher stocked venue or something like that, where I've really had to angle for them, it's all come off the back of finding them. Always. I think it's I wrote a question to like chuck in over these episodes coming forward of like, what do you think one of the most underrated things in fishing is? Discuss. But just jumping ahead and ruining that question. Location, finding them, I think is so underrated. Although everyone always bangs on about it, it's no secret at all. I think it's still underrated.
Yeah.
I still think it's the most important thing.
And I tell you what, I like to think that I've got better at. You turn up to a lake, a lot of the lakes now have the luxury of driving to your swims, you know, in those instances. So it's not as if any swim's out of favour in that sense, because, you know, the furthest walk from the car park is usually less busy. But what if you turn up, you have an idea of where you want to go, and I've been guilty of this. So, you know, that this swim, like, it's in the middle. That's a good point, especially in the winter when you're only ever halfway away from them. And I'm like, I want to do my lap, but I'm almost walking around hoping I don't see anything, because I want to get back to the swim in case that someone else turns up. Because if someone else, I'm like, I think this is where they're going to be. Better go for a walk anyway. And then you come back round because you're
probably half-assed looking then.
It is. And I've been guilty of it, especially at the early of the winter. But now I've learnt to, if someone turns up and goes in a swim that you think you were going to go in before you turn up, so let it be. Do you know what I mean? Let it be, because over the long term, in an infinite amount of time, if you were to walk and spend more time, in the long term, you will catch more, because there is going to be a case where you'll walk for all day potentially, or you could walk for 3-4 hours and end up in the swim that you were going to go in to begin with. But on another day, you might walk 3-4 hours, find them, and then you have 3-4 fish. Whereas before, do you know what I mean? There's always a chance. But I think I'm a lot better now at going, right, put it out of your head that that's where you think they're going to be. They'll be where they want to be. If 6-7 people turn up and take the best swims, which you think you want to be quick, doesn't matter. Walk and get as close to them as you think you can. And I think that's what I've got better at. Yeah,
there was a moment last season on my Syndicate where I'd had one in the April, so about this time of year, and I had an overnighter. So this was probably a few days later. Tony was filming me, actually. We caught one. The week later, I've gone down to do my overnighter, but I'm rushing against the light here, and I can be guilty of it on an overnighter. If I've arrived at the lake, it is like I've probably got half hour of light, and I've got to decide where I want to go, get 3 rods out, ideally in the light, get my head down, up early, pack up early, and I'm off to work. So I had an idea of where I wanted to be. Like I say, I had one the week before. I'd seen them in that area quite a lot. I made the effort to go down and be watching the water or whatnot in the days leading up to it. And I was pretty sure this one area, that's where I was going to head for. And so I did. I got down, got my barrow out. I shot into a swim where I thought they were going to be. I've got my rods out sweet as anything, just on dark, perfect, wicked. I've got my chance in the morning, but then I've got to pack up and go. And my mate, a guy called Danny, I saw him as I was just getting my last rod out in the half light, like on a bit of a rush on, going back to the car, going back. I thought, he was down for a long session. I think he booked like 8 days off, something like that. Anyway, he'd messaged me the next day. He had one. He caught one. And the way he was fishing one area, and I think he just went to nip back to the van, and he just found like 6 fish just right in the edge, in one of the swims, because you have to be in the water for every swim there. You can't cast from the bank. You've got to get in the water. So where you stand and cast, there was 6 fish in one of the swims. Never seen them there before ever. So that's what he was doing. He was dashing back and forth to his van to get sorted. He moved quick, one rod in the edge, had one at first light the next morning. Luckily for me, it was a recapture of the fish I'd had 1 week before.
It's a mugfish.
But he had seen one of the big ones there. And I kicked myself and I was just like, why didn't I walk?
Yeah.
I didn't walk because I was rushing against the light. I only had a night. I'd seen fish in an area, so I fished. But from then on, I was like lazy. I'm good for a walk. Do you know what I mean? I am good for putting the effort in. But that was, for me, I'll never do it again. I'm lazy. I'll always leave my barrow in the van now and do a walk first. Because that, even though it was the same fish, there was an opportunity there, which I passed up, and he got, fair play to him, because I didn't do
preconceived ideas.
Yeah, I didn't do my legwork, yeah.
So, but at least you've identified that, and you won't do it, because you're always learning. I know it's a bit of a cliche, there's always, but it's in me now. That little bit it's in me a little bit more, because we know that we should be doing that, but sometimes
of course, we're human, mate. The path of least resistance, always.
But the more you expose yourself to situations where it hasn't benefited you, you're like, oh, that better. So
you had a good session last week?
Yeah, it's good. Yeah. Crawling up the lines, mate.
What's your other plans going forward for this spring? You got your ticket.
I got my ticket. So last time I was talking about winter tickets, etc. Didn't really get me money's worth. So I thought I'd spend some more money. No, but this time I'm very impulsive. You know me, Dan. I'll go for it. I'm all in on one thing or the next. But I'm really, really excited I've got my yearly ticket now. Starts, because I've got the winter ticket, it sort of never stopped in some degree. But I'm going up Royston next week instead.
Yeah, I was going to say, pay 1,700 quid for a ticket, go to Royston.
Yeah.
But that's for with work anyway, a bit of filming.
Yeah, so I'll be at Royston next week because we've got some new products. So I'm going to do a bit of a takeover day. Obviously, when this goes out, it already would have been live. So I'm going to go live, chat to our followers, see how they're getting on.
Nice.
But on that note, I always like heading to Royston the first warm period of spring.
Yeah.
Because it's 30 foot deep in the middle. They've had a long, tough winter. That water obviously takes longer to cool down, so fish is well into winter. But that top 5-6 foot now is just
magnet.
That is a magnet. You imagine they've been it's cold, and now you've got, I don't know what the temperature difference could be from bottom to top. That'd be an interesting one to find out in 30 foot. But it's got to be 3-4 degrees difference, surely. And I did it a couple of years ago. I went with Carpology and had 12-13 carp in 24 hours. Turn that phone off, Dan.
I've put me on airplane mode and it's all kicking off. Turn Wi-Fi off as well.
So that was that's my plans going forward. And I love fishing. I really love fishing. And I think it's just the mood of everything. Like even just being outside and the smell of spring.
Oh mate, it is but I always say it to my girlfriend. She can feel it in me. Like. Wow.
Can she now?
Hold on a minute. Not like that. When this period hits of like late March, early April, and you get those first proper warm days and you can smell the grass and the birds are chirping and it's like that a bit earlier and we're out walking the dogs, she knows my mind is just elsewhere. And I genuinely get butterflies or nervous. What I get is nervous that I'm missing out. Because I don't get loads of time, I get the most extreme FOMO ever.
On a place like where you're fishing as well.
Just in general, I just like, I need to be out there. I need to be out doing it. I need to be out making the most because it's gone like that, innit? Really. Before you know it, they're spawning. literally before you know it, they are spawning, but you've got this period. And if you get a bad period of like crap weather, you know, you can have frosts in April. We went on that road trip a few years ago. Remember how cold that was?
Yeah.
It's getting like -2, 3 at night, and that was April. Then that period before spawning is so small, and if you've got a busy weekend here and you're away for work there, mate, I might only get like a handful of nights in that 6-week period of go time.
Funny on that, I've just seen a video. I don't know if it's now. I haven't looked into it, but it was a Spanish carp fishing page, and they're spawning like fuck, Dan.
Yeah, but
and I know it's Spain, but it's March.
Yeah, but they'll have their January, February.
Yeah, exactly same sort of thing, and it's like here already.
But I am so scared of like another year. You don't get many years in the grand scheme of things, mate.
All
when you actually think about it.
Glue, mate.
But I know, but really, I always do it. I go like, you know, I've only got X amount of springs left.
What a horrible way to look
and there's
at.
another one gone. But this is what I mean. I get so nervous that I'm going to ruin my opportunity by not making the most of it. But I was in the office earlier this week, Wednesday, and the sun was beaming. And at the back of Alan's office there's a little sun trap in it, and the cherry blossoms out. And I was just like, I need to go. I was like a caged animal at work. I was just getting what I needed to do done. And then I was off to go do my night for the week, blanked. But just this time of year, waking up, standing in the water, mist rolling, just expecting to see. I said to my mate the other day, I live in spring for that first show, that first big black boom coming out almost in slow motion in your head in the mist. I live for it. Like I'm getting hyped. So this is like a locker room talk. Let's go. But mate, that's buzzes me up more than anything, and got a weekend this weekend, so yeah.
What, you're fishing this weekend?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Cool. You've got some brownie points you've been using recently.
Oh mate, did some gardening last weekend, let me tell you. Dug up many a shrub. But yeah, buzzing.
Yeah, good.
What do you hope to achieve from your syndicate this year? Is there a target fish? What do you want to do?
I used to fish it when I was a teenager. There's some old originals in there. I know there's one called the Black Mirror. Everyone has a Black Mirror. Dan, I do not care what I catch. I like getting bites. I like catching big ones. I do like big, fat, round pow, scaly, whatever it is. I like a big carp. Mm-hmm. Targets wise, enjoy myself. Spent the money. I've spent that money for me and no one else. And again, I went with my mate Jim. Call him Jim the Tin. He likes a lager or two. Or, yeah, let's put it politely. He likes a few lagers. And it was really refreshing to spend time with him because he loves his angling. Wind, rain or shine, whatever that phrase is. Yeah. No matter whatever the weather is, he's going because he loves fishing. He's a capable angler, but if he wants to go up the bank, have a few beers and a barbecue with his mates and come back and not put the rods out, he won't. And I have a lot of respect for people going, not because they've got a consultancy deal. Obviously, we're in a fortunate enough position to work for Nash Tackle, and we have to go for a job where there is a bit more pressure. But this is my fishing I'm not there to catch a fish at all costs.
Or make content.
None of that. This is my personal fishing.
You'll switch off from work.
Yeah, when I can.
Which at the end of the day is why we all go.
100%. And it was really refreshing to be with someone who's just there for the love of the sport. And funnily enough, we spoke about drones and bait boats and all that jazz, and I was all for drones. And I had a chat with Jim, and he swayed my mind a bit, like in terms of like whether it counts or not. But it's like bait boats, I don't mind as much. But like he did sort of like make me, prick my ears, and I was thinking like maybe it is a bit close to cheating. You know what I mean? When you're popping them up and finding them, like, and maybe I was thinking more from a filming perspective where you've got a lot more on the line because you've got money, you've got time, etc. But anyway, it was really refreshing to.
Let's not do that chat again.
Yeah. Although people wanted it in the comment.
Yeah.
It was just that is. So when you said, coming back to the question because I'm waffling, I just want to go down there. I've met some great people already. They're really friendly. I don't want any ag. I don't want any competition. I just want to go down there, say hello to the members, have a beer, a brew, whatever it is, and just bloody have a good time. And I'm doing that already, like just from the thing. So that's it, really. And then get some lovely photos. I do love. It's really important to me. I catch them, but the photo is the Do you know what I mean? Like some people use mobile phones, like they don't care. I like a nice album of Carp. Forget posting it to social media or anything like that. Just to have a high quality photo of a big Carp is like, well, that was a cross between a chef's kiss and a salute then.
It worked. Yeah, I know what you meant. Yeah, fair play.
What about you, Dan? What's the plan with our fishing's different, and I think that's a good thing because there's a like contrast of how we angle. I like a large stocked venue with a chance of getting a good bites. You put everything against you. Well, 1 bite a year is considered a success.
I'm going to keep this short and sweet because no one really wants to hear too much about our fishing, I guess. I just want to catch one of the 3 big ones. 3 main target fish in there. If I catch one of those 3, I'll be very happy. Don't have a lot of time this year, especially April, May. I won't have much at all. And then later in the year, got Babby on the way. So then that's going to be like August, September, October kind of out the game. Maybe the odd night here and there when I need to get out of the house. But I won't be able to string anything together. And on a venue like the one I'm fishing where it's a handful of bites, you're doing well. I'm not expecting big things. But if I am lucky enough to get 1 or 2 bites along the way, my target is catch one of the big ones as it should be, you know. So
and you're not firing blanks.
I'm not firing blanks. Yeah.
Blanks.
So
it's all good news, Dan.
Yeah, me knob works. Is that what you're getting at?
Yeah. You said you got Babby on the way.
Yeah. Knob
news.
Works, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So
it's all looking up, Dan. Is this another bit where you're just going to have to cut that bit?
You don't have to cut it out. There's no shame in it. No. Why would there be?
No, I'd be proud
natural,
of that, mate. Yeah.
Circle of life, bro. I've got notes. Do you want me to carry on? Or do you wanna,
No, we can move on now.
I interrupted you. You had something to start with, and I said,
okay, yeah. So, I don't know whether it'll become a feature. We'll soon find out. But first of all, if I get my phone out of my pocket,
so unprepared.
Just a couple of what's been happening in the world of fishing, and obviously, where'd you get your news from? Social media. Okay. I saw a bloody good. Well, I say a good video, but this is one that caught my eye. So what we'll do is I'm going to show you the video, and then to the watchers, I think we'll just rip it off of Instagram. Let me find what it is anyway, because it was just someone that popped up.
I've caught you a bit unprepared here. You wanted to get into this, did you?
No. It's absolutely fine. You're all good.
You got it saved?
Yeah. It's,
so what are you doing, Ed? So this is what you've seen on Instagram this week, or on social media this week.
Yeah,
that has pleased you in some way.
Well, not pleased me, but it's caught my attention. You know, I'll explain now. But yeah, basically, the Instagram reel, TikTok, whatever it is of the week, this really hit me in the feels, and you can tell it's so relatable because it's got a lot of engagement. But it is the most heartbreaking thing I've ever seen. So obviously we'll play the video in a second.
Am I going to cry?
No, not that bad. It's
right.
like
I know,
maybe I've over-egged it, but we'll overlay it. I'm sure it'll be fine. But this is Ed Dyer on Instagram. Just watch this.
I've seen it.
Have you seen it?
I've seen it.
That's my target fish. Please. Actually, it's patch.
I've seen it without the audio.
That's right, I'm going to get hooked.
Oh my God. Do you not have Matey's reaction at the end?
It's the lost for words, literally, because there's a range of emotions that we experience through this, let alone being the person in the video. But look, first of all, your target fish, you know it's your target fish. You're about to net it. You've announced to your mate, you know, like it's patch. The legs are going. My legs are going. I don't know where this is. I'm thinking, right, now I'm nervous for him because it's his fish. And he's called out that it's his target fish. It's the one he wants.
And you can hear it
it in his voice. But then he comes in with, it's going to fall off.
I didn't hear that bit.
Yeah, it's going to fall off. I think that's whoever it is playing.
Oh, the guy.
Yeah, I think he's, and sorry, Ed, because Ed Dyer just here. I don't know whether this is you filmed it, whether it's you or whether you filmed it. But yeah, he said it's going to fall off. You've manifested it to fall off.
No, I didn't hear
And
that bit.
it's fell off.
So yeah, for the listeners, it's basically a guy. He's got this big old carp flopping around the end. The net is out, ready to engulf it, and the rig just comes pinging over his shoulder, and then the phone kind of like just turns to the ground, and there's just deathly silence.
Definitely so, because I mean, I don't think it's. I feel sick,
Yeah,
and
that's
I wasn't.
horrible.
Do you know what I mean? If I was in that position, we all lose fish, but
Speak
it
for
could it couldn't really get any worse, could it? In that moment, it's the one you want. It's a yard away from the net. You've called it that it's going to fall off. It's fallen off. I don't know, but that was just one I watched over and over again.
Yeah.
Just to feel some like I want to. That's horrible.
Well,
That's
better luck
horrible.
next time, Ed.
Yeah. But yeah, that was my.
Have you ever
that was-
had a real bad one?
Yeah.
A real bad
Yeah,
loss?
yeah.
Have you?
Yeah, the one that sort
Got
of my
away.
fault. Sort of
what?
my fault.
It was your fault.
It sort of was my fault, but.
I'll be the judge of that. Go on. Tell me your story.
Long story short, it was a big comment for the church. I lost it at the net. Surely you know that story.
It was your fault.
Yeah.
It was 100% your fault. You did
Yeah,
not
anyway,
deserve
have you
it.
ever had anything like that happen
You
to you,
didn't
Dan?
deserve to catch that fish at all. At all. Because
caught it
also,
in the end.
it's not. No, what?
No, I caught it. I had my revenge because I caught it off the top. But the first time I lost it.
First time
yeah.
you lost it. Yeah, no, he won that before you'd even knew what carp that was. And it's not the first time it's happened to you, is it?
Yeah. Yeah, the only time actually.
What?
No, it's not.
I was going to say.
Think.
Yeah, that's for people who don't know, Alfie was fishing the church, few beeps, fishing locked up. He's gone out there. His rod's gone flying into the lake.
Again.
But again, he's not learned his lesson. You've not tried our butt locks, the new ones as well.
I've got it. It was a well, it made it worse actually because it was a prototype scope reel, and the drag must have been too quick on it because it was a prototype. So obviously, I've gone from tight clutch to loose clutch, but it didn't make it that loose, so it must have been or not quick enough.
Didn't test it then.
Nah. You just assumed, didn't you? It must dodgy reel,
Great-
Dan. Dodgy reel.
Yeah, must have been a dodgy reel.
Prototype. They don't come in.
Anyway, rod's gone flying in, gone into the lake, and then you went out in a boat, managed to get the rod.
I've got it back,
Fish was still attached though at this point, and then it come off.
and then went to net it, and it fell off.
Yeah, you've lost it. You lost it as soon as that rod leaves the rest and into the water. You've lost your fish. That's my rule.
Yeah, but that obviously. But that was like my first.
It's harder when you see it though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Is it? Or does the
No, it's worse if you see it.
Yeah, I suppose.
Yeah. But yeah, that was my first year at Nash. That
was it?
and yeah, I was.
Was
you
it
know,
really? Didn't
the first year? Yeah, because me and Tommy had reason we was fishing the church because we laid the path, we laid the shell.
Yeah.
You can fish it at night, and I'll never forget it. Just 7 a.m, beep, and then I was like, that's a bit weird. It should still be going. Went out there, I was just like, oh, everything's fine. I was like, hang on a second, a rod is missing.
That is
Terrible.
Jeffy. Yeah.
Yeah. That was cool. That would have been 8 years ago. That.
Jesus.
What about you?
The one that springs to my head is because I don't catch many, I also don't lose many.
I mean, fair enough.
Do you know what I mean? So like, if someone catches 100 carp in a year and loses 10%, he's lost 10 carp. Losing 10 carp's a lot, mate. I haven't lost 10 carp in 10 years. I've barely caught 10 carp in 10 years. Do you know what I mean? So
fair enough.
the ratio's not so bad for me. But I did lose one October 2018, I think it was.
It doesn't stick in your mind that well.
No.
Then you went straight there.
Yeah, on Ferry Lagoon, which is 108, about 100 acre pit, 120 acres. At the time, I think there was only about 40 carp in there, but I didn't really know. There wasn't loads of information on it. And I got a bite after baiting a lot. I blanked all year, I'd barely seen a fish all year. Got to October, I've been baiting this area for a few weeks, and it was the first time I'd put a rod onto it. And I got the rod out at 5 p.m, something like that. And I got the bite at 9 p.m, so just a few hours later, after the baiting, for the first time I'd gone to this massive expanse of water, huge lake. And And yeah, I had it on for 20 seconds, 30 seconds, just kiting left, going through, started to take my other line, and I went underneath my other line, held it up again, and boom, it just come off. And I reeled it in, and I was like, no. You just cannot believe it's happened. And it was gone. And then I just grabbed my other rod and reeled that in, because I thought, because it was going through my other line, my other bobbins were going in. I was like, maybe it's on that one, and just reeled that in. It wasn't. I was like, I just sat there in my waders in the water, like just heartbroken. That was the worst, because I put so much into it, and a bite on there was.
When you go months without a bite,
yeah,
you get the bite. Is that in your head? Is that in your head? Are you like?
I hate the fight.
Do you know? Because I'm thinking, I lost one on the cops the other day on a zig, right at the net. Not end of the world. It was a low 20. But the next time, it's in my head. We did that filming the other day, playing one. It's in my head. I was like, the last one I lost. So I can't imagine if you go months without a bite, this could be your only bite of the season. Oh, it must be horrible, mate.
Yeah,
like the reward is so much better, but the loss is
this is
so
why I
much
like
worse.
it, because I think everything's just massively heightened.
Yeah,
you know, the fear of losing it, the elation of catching it. I think everything on that scale, when it's been so hard, is all heightened. So it just means fishing's just that much more fucking euphoric.
Yeah,
in what and how I fish. The lows are super low, but the highs are super high. But if you lost one halfway through a fight, the low is low. And the pressure of losing one is just like pounding in your head. But I hate playing them. I just get them in as quick as I can. I just don't think about it. Just keep cool, just get it in.
Sometimes think though that's shot me down, especially like if it's been a hard week filming and you get a bite, you just want to get it in the net, but sometimes you play them too hard.
But the thing is, I don't play them any differently. I don't rush it or anything like that. I remain pretty calm, but I am super confident in my setup. Super confident. And so like, actually, to answer your question, no, I don't really worry in the fight. All I want to do is just get them in.
Yeah.
But at no point am I like, this could drop off.
Which is a good thing.
Mate, I'm really, really confident in. I use, for 90% of my fishing, leg clip, Klingon leader, pretty much the same rig. It's either going to be a hinge if it's a pop-up, or like a liner hair rig for a bottom bait or a wafter. Claw hook, size 4.
Long shank claw or just normal?
Well, they've only just come out, so I haven't really used them that much yet. But just a normal, so I like wide gape really, but I think they're like a little bit stronger in testing when we tested them to the samples of the wide gapes we had. It wasn't a lot, it was like 6%, I think, but
still you're getting all the benefits.
It's something. I don't think it makes a difference, but I'm just super confident in it, because I've lost so little. Again, haven't caught loads, but I know when they're hooked, I've got loads of confidence in them going in the net, basically.
Well, yeah, that's important. That's really important.
Yeah. But yeah, that poor lad, mate. That's hard to watch.
That's the worst loss I've ever seen. I think I've seen the odd one in a boat battle, gin clear water, and it comes up, but yeah, that is it's just
poor lad. It's a good feat. I like it. We should do that. What you're going to bring one every?
I'll bring one every podcast.
Every podcast,
you know, like clip of the week or clip of the whatever. But that one, it's worth discussing.
Yeah, nice, cool. Listener feedback is next on my list. So last episode we said, don't really know what we're doing. We need your help. And after it went live, which was only last week for us now, but when this comes out, it'll be a bit longer. I put a story up and I've opened up a email address. So the email address is podcast@nashtackle.co.uk. So if you've got anything to write in, especially if it's longer, like a story of some sort, send it there. But I opened up questions to my Instagram to say, give us your feedback. I didn't have loads, so please, people, keep it coming. We'll keep the podcast moving. We'll keep it developing. We don't know where it's going to go, what features we're going to do, but it's on its way. I was going to read through a few.
Hit me.
And see what you think. Tadsy. Thanks, Tadsy. You should set up a voicemail service where anglers can phone in and ask you questions.
Yeah, that would be a great idea.
Yeah. So our podcast thing is
R.I.P.
broken, officially broken, but we're getting it fixed. Once it's fixed, people can call us and we can attach a phone to it and it will come directly in. So we will take callers with live questions, not quite live, but that, I think you mentioned it in the last podcast, didn't you? And he's up for it. So
that's good.
Something we can look at.
I'd
forward.
like to have that in the show where again everyone can come in and or just like who wants to, let's like phone a friend, but you get longer than 60 seconds or 30 seconds.
I think so.
And you don't have to.
And I'll get on to, there's a little bit which I kind of thought about, which I'd like to start introducing, but I'll get onto that in a bit. Okay, next one is from I Wilksies. The debates were good. Could drop those in every so often. They were good.
I forgot we even did those.
No, I think they were some of the best ones. But do you know what? What I think we ran out of was topics to talk about. But I think if we've got topics, having a couple of fresh people into, and this is what I want, to be able to talk about fishing from different viewpoints, in not just us in the industry, whoever.
No, you jog my memory now. Actually, I remember I did one. I think it might have been me, you, Henry, and Al. I know Al was in. I think it might have been me, Henry, and Al, and it was just
and Tommy
and it was genuinely, that was it. It was like the best looking carp in the UK, and I remember I had some of the Dintons
but the same topics would always come up, and actually after like 3 or 4 episodes of the debate, it was a bit like meh.
Yeah,
but I've actually, off the back of these, I'm pitching an idea. I'm going to do it now. Carp fishing room 101. Yeah. I mentioned this to a few people around the office. They didn't know what Room 101 was or meant.
I can't remember. What was the theme song? It's Frank Skinner. Was it Frank Skinner?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. It made me feel really old. But basically, it was someone puts their pet peeve or a slight annoyance up for debate to go into Room 101, and then the host would decide whether it goes in. And Room 101 was basically banishing it. Yeah. We don't want that anymore. Get it gone. There was actually used to be a Facebook group called Carp Fishing 101, and people would put a post in saying, a topic. They might have put drones, and then people would debate in the comments if they're good or bad. But I think if people send us in topics for the Carp Fishing Room 101, and then you and me can debate whether it goes in or not, and whoever else we might have on with us, and then it could be funny.
No, 100%.
That would be the answer to the debates thing.
Yeah. No, I fully agree. We just need some good topics of discussion. So,
yeah,
we'll think. You guys think. Fantastic.
Starting next week. How do you plan an overnighter based off when you can go, the weather, etc.? Do you do overnighters?
Yeah, I always, when you say over I do, but I hate traffic. So I don't leave.
So you base it off the traffic?
Yeah, I base it off the traffic. So if I wake up and the traffic's bad, I'm coming in after the traffic. Like, because I live in Kent, the office is in Essex, don't always come to the office, but sometimes I have to go home because I've got meetings and it's just not viable from the bank. I say sometimes, most of the time, but I'll always hold out for the traffic. So to answer your question, I'll go if I get time. Wind, rain or shine, I don't care about what the weather is, because you've got to do it. Do you know what I mean? If you start letting that affect when you go, it's just not going to happen, is it? You know, you just have to is what it is. You can't control the weather or the traffic.
So your answer is like, you plan your overnighter. You will always go, no matter the weather, bad fishing conditions, whatever, but you will keep an eye on the traffic.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. So when I leave, no, I do. Yeah. If the traffic, sorry, let me rephrase it. If the traffic's bad when I'm going, well, it just isn't, because I'll just go before it's bad.
Right.
So yeah, but I wouldn't, if the traffic's bad, I'm still going. As long as it's not like, yeah. But when I'm leaving, I'm like, I'll hold it out.
So actually, it's not your over, it's when, your answer is when you leave your overnight.
When I leave my overnight,
So you'll do the overnight no matter what, but you might have a long one. It might turn into a day session as well, depending on the traffic.
24 hours goes by.
Nice.
What about you? I should ask you as well. You're just...
mine's the same as you. Apart from the traffic bit, I don't care about the traffic.
Well, there is no traffic in the Fen.
To be honest, I will keep an eye on the weather, but I will never let it affect me. It's like those apps. People say, fishing efficiency is da-da-da-da. I'll never pay any attention. I will always go fishing if I can.
Yeah, I need to stop looking at that bloody fishing efficiency. I don't know how it works, these calendar apps and the rating and its tides and everything, but I'm starting to base of when I don't catch it. Okay, it's because the fishing efficiency was 2%. I'm like,
if I only went when the going was good, I'd go half as much as I do now, and I don't go enough now.
Yeah.
So I will just go fishing, and also I've caught and had successful sessions and just enjoyed myself. No matter
the
what
most important thing.
So yeah, that's me. I've had a lot about development process, explain the development process, how you identify gaps in the market to stand out. But I had a few of them, not just from this chap, Ollie Hotkins.
We should get.
So one day we'll get Alan or Reedy or Tommy in, and we'll talk about the development process and the process of new products and how they come to market.
I really like that idea because we're immune to it because we live and breathe it every day. But it's fucking interesting.
Yeah,
like it really is.
So that's one. Great listen/show. What's the new test bait at Nash, and when is it available to the public? Nash Bait Talks.
Is there one?
No.
Right. Okay.
So I don't know where you've heard that, but there is no test bait at the moment. There's always Max, the crazy scientist, is always playing with some ingredients and new baits and that sort of thing. But it's not like we've rolled out a test bait at the moment. We've got the citrus, the monster shrimp, and the scope squid. That's what it is at the moment. No particular test bait in the range or in the pipeline. I love this question. This is my last one. Yeah, I love this question. It's actually from one of our own guys, Lolo. If you don't know Big Lolo, he's
sexy man.
He is a sexy man, but he's our French social media manager plus videographer down there. Is it easier to catch carp and big carp in Europe?
When he says Europe, outside of the UK.
Yeah, he's outside of the UK. So is fishing in Europe, the mainland Europe, harder than in the UK?
Those are different variables, but a general answer is no, of course it's not.
Do you not think?
It's not, no. Henry catches, sorry.
Well, you think it's easier, you don't think it's any easier in Europe?
It's easier in Europe to catch carp.
Sorry,
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah. So
for clarity, it's easier solely for the fact that they're less conditioned and there's less pressure.
Yeah.
There's a lot more places in mainland Europe where you can find carp who behave like carp and a boilie isn't a danger sign.
Yeah, it's a massively you can take any sort of like viewpoint on it really, but because it depends on the venue, of course. Exactly. It depends where you are, depends on the venue, time of year, etc, etc. But I just look at it like this: I go to Europe mainly for a holiday to catch a big on, and to be honest, my success rate ain't too bad. You know, I can go over to Europe for a week and probably, well, I've been for a week session, public lake fishing, not like a booking lake. That's, you know, maybe a separate conversation. Caught a 50 pounder. Go for a week, catch a 50 pounder. Mate, it took me years. It took me years in the UK to actually, and it all depends where you fish as well. I suppose in the UK, if I fish somewhere with a 50 pounder, it might be quicker to get there. But
Swavesey didn't take you long.
2 years.
Fair enough.
But yeah, I think if I'd just gone for my first week on there ever and caught it, it'd be a weird one. But yeah, I think, but it's like you say, I think there's more of them. I think that's the thing. There's more big carp in Europe. So of course you're going to catch. It's kind of like saying, was it harder back in the day in the UK to what it is now? But of course it was harder to catch a 40 pounder 25 years ago because there was, well, more than quarter of the amount of them. There was probably like a dozen in the country or whatever, and now they're everywhere. Yeah. So of course it's easier now. So maybe it's
question big uns or just carp in general.
Carp and big carp in Europe.
Right. Okay.
But I perhaps do think it's easier.
Yeah.
In some. Yeah.
But and then not to dive into it too much, but the pay lakes.
Yeah.
Different ball game because arguably they are more pressured than any lake in the UK because anglers are on them 7 days a week, fully booked. You know, you got these big French venues that are booked up for years. We've been trying to do it. We've been trying to find a French venue. 3-4 years, fully booked every single week. Poor carp.
Yeah, but
more big uns.
And you go out and you get your hits. I don't know why it is. They do go and get their big hits of fish, but then you do it anywhere, I suppose. I think there's elements which are definitely harder. Like some of the venues that they've got out there, a lot more physically demanding. It takes a lot more to be successful on them. But I think the actual fishing could be a bit simpler, as in like quite agriculture in what you're doing, but actually just to get in the boat and get out there and, well, even get to the bank in some instances can be harder. But I think my answer on a base value is like, yeah, they are a little bit easier to catch. And that's from my experience as well. Yeah,
we could go really into that, but save that for another one, eh?
Yeah, maybe so. And that's the end of my feedback from those little comments there. So I'll keep doing this every week. I'll put it out.
Because again, things get real repetitive real quick in just the general Q&A. Do you have any questions for person X, with the whole social media thing? But that was a little bit of a different spin on it. There's an infinite amount of questions, but obviously the normal ones get asked. So fair play. Yeah, let's see if we get some proper, not obscure, but like different questions coming.
Yeah. Because we... There's a few, sorry for anyone who has emailed in or whatever who I haven't read out, but a lot of what I got was, is there a place for drones and technology in fishing? And that has been done to death. Yeah. So I'm not going to talk about that anymore. But maybe we can bring it up with a new guest who has a new viewpoint on it or something like that. But a lot of what got sent in is kind of had been done. But I'm sure that what I'm really looking forward to, one thing someone said was they want to hear about your everyday man. Because all the funny stories on the bank of things that have happened to your everyday angler, there'll be thousands of them. So that's what I want to hear. There is one guy I know who's going to send me a story, which I've heard before, which is incredible. He's going to do me a write-up and send that in. So if anyone's got anything like that, funny stories to talk about, weird occurrences, or even just amazing, like out of the blue fishing stories that, against all odds and this happened, we'll take anything.
We'll take phone them in, maybe. They could do it over the phone.
Yeah, exactly. So, that's the end of that bit.
Yeah. What else is in that magical book of yours?
Oh, so it's all on me, is it?
Sorry?
All on me, is it?
Yeah.
Not put on that? Nothing.
Yeah, I did. I've done my bit.
You did one thing. You found a video on social media.
I found a 12-second video.
When you'll sit there doom scrolling on the shitter, you've gone... I'll show that down in the podcast. That'll be fine.
Yeah, you've hit the nail on the head.
Okay, so this is my pitch for a section. So we've got Carp Fishing Room 101 we're going to do. Mm-hmm. I like you, Alfie.
Well, this isn't Take Me Out.
You've got a very simplistic view on life in my eyes. You're happy-go-lucky. You're like Neil from The In-Betweeners. Do you know what I mean? He does that amazing speech.
About God.
Yeah. I think you've got that happy-go-lucky view on life. And I think there's a lot of knowledge in there and a lot of advice that needs to be given to the people. So I want to start Agony Alf. Right? Agony Alf is going to be, someone writes in with a conundrum. It might be a technical question about their fishing and you just give your outlook on it. It might be a moral dilemma. You're fishing a lake, someone's baiting somewhere, but you've started seeing them show. Do you fish it or not? What's your take on it? Things like that, But I want them not to, like I say, just to be, how do I catch them at this time of year? I want them to be, you're in a pickle, like an agony aunt. I'm in a pickle. I don't know what to do. I've got the devil and angel on my shoulder. These are my two options. What would you do? And because you've got such a childlike, simple mind.
Hey, it keeps me happy.
I'd like to get your very basic view on that.
I'm all for that.
Yeah?
I mean, as long as I can't be held accountable for any consequences of my advice.
So how are we going to market this? I'm going to put stories out and say...
Agony Alf.
I need Agony Alf. I'm doing it now. I'm marketing. Look at me market. So if anyone has anything that they'd like to run by the mastermind that is Alfie Willingale and just get his take on it, maybe he'll, make that decision for you. It'll help you out in a spot of bother. It can be as serious or as jokey as you want. But we're going to pitch a few to Alfie next episode.
I'm all for that. Let's
either
is it all fishing or is general life? Are we going to go?
I'll take general life as well.
General life?
Because that would be good. General life as well. I'd like to see what you'd go down, because maybe I wouldn't always trust your advice, but I'd always appreciate it.
Yeah, I could go the other way. I could, become the leading psychologist, or I could be, dear Deirdre, move out of the way. Agony Alf.
And this is why we're going to use Alf, because he's got a simple mind like this, where he thinks that he could become a leading psychologist of carp anglers saying, am I allowed to bait here or not?
Yeah. Let's go for it.
But I was a bit worried that people might not know you well enough. So I'm going to just do a little questionnaire now, because I also need this for our new website that we're building.
Yeah.
I need a bit of information for you. So I'm going to ask you a few questions to create Alfie's profile, but also people are going to get to know you a little bit better. So name.
Alfie Willingow. No middle name.
Have you not?
No.
Mum couldn't think of one.
Yeah, simple family, Dan.
Alfie Willingow. Okay. Age?
I'm 31.
31. Nice. Hairline tells a different story.
Aye, fresh.
Occupation? I know that one. Head of digital marketing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. UKPB. I actually don't know this.
£47.
£47.
It's that big common we were talking about.
Oh, is it?
Off the top.
EUPB.
I don't actually know. It's 54 or 55 or 56. I don't know.
I'm going to go 55, which is down the middle of those three figures.
Yeah.
£55. Where was that?
I'm just trying to... It would have... I don't know. Because there's a few that could have been up there, because I've genuinely forgotten.
Never mind
one of them was...
Never mind then.
Yeah, it was this Slovenia trip. I had a big one, but...
Common or mirror?
What do I prefer? Or
Yeah.
my PB? Mirror.
Mirror.
Is that a quick fire questions?
A little bit, but I need the information. Mother's maiden name and PIN code.
Mother's maiden name and PIN code.
Yeah.
No. NA.
Okay. Tea or coffee?
Coffee. One a day, as we were discussing earlier. One a day in the morning, 3 sugars, 4 rennies.
I'm going to pop down warm milk. Just a bit more you. Have you ever been in love?
With you?
Have you ever been in love?
No. Wait, what was it I get so feel about? Ever been in love?
Best carp, dead or alive?
That one from Dinton. That's really specific, isn't it? There's a real good looking one from Dinton. I get confused whether it's Son of Triple Row.
Wrong. The answer is alive. Simple question, really. Have you always been scared of the dark?
Not always. Why am I scared of the dark?
It's just in your character, innit? I just figured you...
I like the dark.
Yes. Yeah, I think I've got everything I need. Thanks.
That's all you need.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks, mate.
It's all right. I'll pop that on the website now.
Yeah. The thing is, I know it's going to be on there.
Yeah, it will. Yeah. And that's Alfie, people. That's who you're going to be dealing with.
Oh, well, the advice is going to be so reliable. I'm looking forward to seeing what people come in with.
Me too.
Yeah.
I think that's it.
That's it for I say this week's.
Yeah, we definitely can't do them weekly, can we?
Not with that attitude.
No, we definitely
No,
can't.
we just don't have the time, but
We'll try. I'd like to get a guest on for the next one, I think. I'm going to try and I'd love to bring Tommy on. I'd love to get him out of retirement.
Trinder.
Yeah, but you've got to basically... To get Tommy out, you've just got to stand outside his flat in the early hours of the morning with a warm Kronenberg 6064.
Cold, not warm.
And just shake it in the moonlight. And then slowly you see him crawl out of bed and start looking and have a little...
What a man.
It's when he can smell it, I think. And then he'll come down and you stick a net over him, drag him in there, and then you've got him. So we'll do that. Get Tommy in. Tommy's a very funny man. He hasn't been fishing in a while, but he's got also a good outlook on life. So I think for the next one, we'll try and twist his arm. If not, we'll get someone else from the office. Maybe that Alan fella.
He's about.
Yeah. So thank you very much for listening, people.
Or watching.
Once again, podcast@nashtackle.co.uk. Message me, message Alfie, message the official channels. Anything you've got for input, anything you want to talk to us about, or just general feedback. We'll take it all. Don't forget to subscribe to the podcast on your usual channels, because we're going to be doing them more regularly now, so you don't want to miss an episode. And apart from that, stay safe and Godspeed.
Bye, everyone.